Hello and welcome to another Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the film Fallen Leaves, directed by Kaurismäki. Now, some people are calling Fallen Leaves a rom-com, and I think that this is literally true. It has romance in it and it has comedy in it. However, the film has a coldness to it that, at least for me, doesn't allow the heartstrings to be touched. Further, the comedy is so absurd and minimal that I barely raised a smile. What Kaurismäki does do here is to create almost a dreamlike world, a world that isn't quite real, but at the same time it sits somewhere between a romantic fantasy and a nightmare. This is a hard, brutal world, a world where capitalism is harsh and people are exploited, a world where employers have all the power and people lose their jobs really easily with no compassion. I did really like the cinematography in this film. It's a film that always has a strong colour in the picture, greens, blues, reds and yellows, yet somehow the colours never bring any joy. They exist in what feels like a colourless world, a world where nobody smiles and no one seems to be enjoying life. Technically, this aesthetic is maintained consistently throughout the film, and I think it does give the film a particularly unique atmosphere. Within this, Ansa and Hlopa start dating, which turns into a relationship. Everything is really minimal, the writing is spare and the acting super deadpan. I found that the coldness of the film never allowed me to warm up to the magic of the romance between Ansa and Hlopa. Reading the reviews, this clearly wasn't the experience for everyone, but it just didn't work for me. If the romance doesn't bring any warmth, we're left with a rather cold, technically proficient film that didn't really take me anywhere. In terms of the comedy, it definitely was present throughout, but again, I found it really cold, as tragic as it was funny. There's an interesting phenomenon in art house cinemas. This clearly was supposed to be funny in a kind of satirical and absurd way. At best, I would say it's mildly amusing, but other people in the cinema screening I was at laughed out loud at various points. I think the phenomenon is that people are very generous with their laughter in an art house cinema. I actually also find the same with plays in the theatre. It's like people know that it's a clever joke, so they laugh. Perhaps I'm a bit too literal and mean with my laughter, but I only laugh if it actually makes a laughing sound come out of my mouth. Overall, this just felt too much like the perfect art house rom-com, a kind of arty romance and an arty comedy, but being absolutely honest, enjoyable as neither. One thing I can say is that I was never bored in this film. It did keep me interested, and in every aspect it's really well made. It's just not a film that is easy to get very excited about. There are some interesting things about the film. Hlopa is clearly an alcoholic, and this is a problem for Ansa because she has had previous experience of alcoholics. Her father and brother both died of alcoholism. This gives the film a serious underpinning, which only adds to the overall melancholy. Another interesting thing is that every time a radio is turned on, there's a news update on the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This is confusing because the film seems to be set in the past somewhere. No one has a mobile phone in this world, yet the war reports clearly set the film in a contemporary time period. I kind of like this ambiguity. It adds to the slightly unreal atmosphere of the whole film. I did find the ending somewhat unsatisfactory. There were some serious issues that didn't feel like they were fully resolved. But clearly this isn't a film that gives very much at all to the viewer, so I guess I'm not surprised by this. In conclusion, although I don't think this film is worth going to a great effort to see, I would actually recommend it if it's readily available. Thanks for watching. See you next time.